Hey guys, I'm Daisho and I am here playing some Magic for you, and this time it's going to be a little bit different than what you're used to. I know I normally post Duels of the Planeswalkers videos, but this one is Magic Online. And I've been doing a lot of streaming of Magic Online in the past few weeks, I guess, basically since my spring break. And I really enjoy it. It's a little bit different than Duels of Planeswalkers in that it has access to all the cards in Magic, and you can customize your own decks and stuff. But this gameplay that I'm bringing you guys today is a Pauper gameplay, which basically means that you can only use commons, but there are no restrictions on the sets which you can use. So for a lot of different types, like Standard, which is pretty much the most played thing, or Block Constructed, which is really popular right now, there are a limited amount of sets where you can use, so only from the sets that have come out in the past year or a couple of years, or it's a little bit more complicated than that, but that's the gist of it. And but this is actually different. This is Pauper, which means that you can use any card from any set. I mean, any set cards from any set, but you can only use commons. So for those of you who don't know, the Magic breakdown system is common, uncommon, rare, and mythic rare. Common being supposedly the weakest cards, but if you go all the way back, then every once in a while they let one slip through that is actually pretty good. And especially a lot of the old cards, they're just really, really powerful. And it's pretty cool. It's a really interesting format. I really like it, and I hope you guys are going to enjoy this gameplay. But anyway, I'm on the bottom of the screen, as you guys can probably tell based on the fact that you can see my hand and not his. And I kept a one-land hand, which normally you won't want to do, but this deck only runs 20 lands, and the highest mana cost card that I have is 3, but I only have 4 of those, so it's basically curves out at 2, and it's a pretty fun deck to play. I really enjoy it. It's green-red aggro, which is definitely, it's always been my style. Most of the decks that I make are red or green white red or something like that. I like the whole green-red aggro kind of feel. And anyway, here I decide. Well, actually, I mean, I may as well talk about what's actually going on in the gameplay. So, my hand right now has that Jungle Lion, and it was on the battlefield, and I have 2 lands. And right here, I play this Scab Clan Mauler, I believe his name is. He is 1 red and 1 green, and he's a 1/1 with Bloodthirst 2 and Trample. So he's really so he comes down on the table and he becomes a 3/3. My opponent has a Flip Delver on the battlefield, and Delver is basically on the other side. On the side that he is on right now is a 3/2 flyer. So I have to worry about that in that he's got me on a clock, but I don't really have to worry too much because I have a faster clock than him. I've got a 2/1 and a 3/3 on the board, so I'm swinging back for 5, even though he's swinging in for 3 himself. Plus, this turn, I have red and green open, which means that I can play my Rip Clan Crash. I could have played him last turn also, but I don't know why I decided to go for him this turn. Anyway, I play my Rip Clan Crasher, who is a 2/2 haste. For 2 mana. So basically right now I'm going to be swinging in for 7, and I'm going to take him all the way down to 5. So just based on the board position, it sort of looks like I'll be able to win the game next turn, but you'll see. I mean, there's one factor that you can't really exactly see, but he only has 7. He has got 7 cards in hand, so he's definitely going to be able to do some stuff. But anyway, my opponent's playing this blue, mono blue control deck. Those transitions are just him thinking for a while. But anyway, right here he decides to play this this fairy, which is a 2-cost 1/1 flyer, but when it comes into the battlefield, you can untap 2 of your lands. So he basically gets to play that dude for free, which is pretty cool in a deck where it has a lot of draw power, because it doesn't really matter that it's only a 1/1 flyer. It's still a really valuable card because you get to play it for free, and it provides a really, really good blocker. But right here, you'll see that I make an interesting choice. So previously, he had to flip his Delver, and to do so, he revealed that he had a 2-cost counter. And I think the spell said something like return an island to your hand. I don't really know. I'm not familiar with that spell. But he has to like return an island to his hand when he casts it. So I don't really want him to stop me from winning the game, but I can, and I'll still be successful because he has to return an island to his hand, so then I'll probably be able to win the game the next turn. But right here, I think the blocks are pretty obvious. He's going to block the Delver, which is a 3-2, on my Scab Clan Mauler, and his 1-1 on my Jungle Cat, which is just a 2-1. So my Rip Clan Crasher is going to be able to get in for another 2, and my Scab Clan Mauler takes him down 1, so he goes down to 2 life. So right now he's got 2 mana untapped, and I play this guy. I'm really just trying to bait the counterspell here, but I don't succeed in that, and I was hoping to do that, but I decided that it would be better to just save my Incinerate and just try to cast the Scab Clan Mauler, because either way, if I get the Scab Clan Mauler down, then I'm good. But what he does here is he plays Snap, which is a 2-cost bounce spell, and it untaps 2 of his lands again, and then with those 2 lands he's going to use a counter spell on my other dude. So right here I still think that I'm looking pretty good, because I'm holding 4 cards in hand, and I really don't think that he's going to be able to find a way to deal with the creature on board and all the stuff in my hand, including the Incinerate. So I'm thinking that I'm pretty good here. He plays a land, which is interesting. Like, I don't really know how many lands his deck runs, but I don't think he wants to be stuck on 2 or 1 like he was for most of the game. So he concedes there, and then I go to my sideboard. I bring in my Nacatl Outlanders, which are my 2 costs 2/2 protection from blue guys. Very, very useful in this matchup, because once it hits the table, there's really not much he can do about it, which is very bad. He can't block it, and he can't bounce it or anything. So anyway, let's just fast forward to where we start. I have pretty much the best hand that I can dream of. I got my Nacatl Outlander in there, and I have a turn 1 play in Jungle Cat. I actually have 2 of them. Well, let's just go through my entire hand. I have Evolving Wilds, I have Mountain, and I have Forest, which I already played. Rip Clan Crasher, who we went through earlier, he is the 2-cost 2/2 haste, and Skargan Pit Mauler, I think is his name, or Skargan Pit something or other. I can't remember his name, sorry. I can't read it from here. But anyway, he's a 1/1 Bloodthirst, and Bloodthirst 1. So when he comes into play, you get a +1/+1 counter if you've dealt damage to your opponent this turn. And he also can't be blocked by creatures who have less power than him. So basically, once I get him in as a 2/2, then 1/1s can't block him, or if I have some pump spell, then I can play it before they can declare blockers, and then I just become happy. Like, I just drew a Mutagenic Growth, which is a Phyrexian mana for target creature gets +2/+2 until end of turn. So that's pretty good. But anyway, right here I decide that since he's tapped out, I want to get my Nacatl Outlander on the board right away, since the only thing that he can really do about it is counter it before it comes into play. So I could have gotten my Rip Clan Crasher in there and swung in for an extra couple of damage, and maybe that would have been pretty good, but I definitely like the play of playing my Nacatl Outlander and just getting the steady 2 damage in for literally the rest of the game without him being able to do anything about it. So he swings back with his Delver, and he takes me down to 14, so now it's 14-16, and I'm about to be able to swing. Right here, I scroll up to try to remember what flipped his Delver. It turned out it was the Preordain that he had already cast, so I didn't really have much information. The only information that I have is that he has 2 mana untapped and 6 cards in hand, so I'm pretty sure that he has a counterspell here. I would be lying if I said that I just said, oh, he probably has a counterspell, so I shouldn't play Rip Clan Crasher. I actually did that by accident. I hit OK before I realized that I actually wanted to play him before I went to attack. But anyway, I play my my Bloodthirst dude, and he's going to counter it with an interesting spell. It is a fairy that is a 2-cost 1/1 flyer with flash, and when it enters the battlefield, you can counter spell if its converted mana cost is equal to the number of fairies you have on the board or less. So basically, that's the first fairy, and he can counter a 1-cost spell. So I assume he had something like a counter spell, but it was just really beneficial for him to be able to counter the 1-cost spell as opposed to the 2-cost Rip Clan Crasher that I probably should have played. So he plays his 1/1 dude that untaps his lands again, and it's not looking great for me, but again, it's not looking terrible because I've really got a handful of cards that I can actually play. He swings back, takes me down to 10, and he's still got his mana open and his cards in it. I think he's got 5 right now. Luckily, I draw a land here, and again, I kind of meant to play the Rip Clan Crasher first main. That probably would have been a better idea, but it's not like either of these times were completely fatal mistakes. that is just like, oh my god, Daisho, how did you do that? You can never win the game, because I'm still going to be using my mana on other things than that, and maybe getting in for, because maybe playing these two guys second main is actually better, because maybe I could have gotten in for 2, but he probably would have just countered the Rip Clan Crasher, and then I would have only been able to play 1 guy, and maybe it wouldn't have worked as well. But anyway, I get my 2 guys, my Wild and the Cattle, which is a 1/1, and it gets +1/+1 if I control a mountain, and it gets +1/+1 if I control a plains. So I don't run any plains in this deck, but it still can become a 2/2. So it's a 2/2 for 1, which is just really, really powerful. Obviously, if it was a 3/3 for 1, that would be better, but I feel like running the plains would just slow this deck down even further, and it's already an aggro deck, so I really need to basically get on my tail and get started from the beginning. But right now, he basically figures out that, or no, he does not, actually. Sorry about that. He doesn't think that I'm going to win this race for whatever reason. So he's going to swing on in there with his 2 guys, take me down to 6 life, and I'm just like, okay, because this is actually pretty good, because from what it looks like in my hand, obviously he's going to counter something, because he's a blue deck and he's got 3 mana open. But if I play my Rip Clan Crasher and I got my Mutagenic Growth in there, then I can actually win the game right here, and that would be awesome, obviously. So he swings in for 4. And eventually he's going to let me, yeah, there we go, he's just going to let me take it, which I was like, I don't know what you're thinking, bro. You already attacked, may as well just let me take it. And then I draw a Lightning Bolt off the top, which is really, really good for me. So I'm going to play my Rip Clan Crasher, finally remember to do it, and he's obviously going to counter it, which he had the whole time, but whatever. I think he probably could have countered it at any moment. He used Hydroblast, which is just a 1-cost, destroy target permanent if it's red, and counter target spell if it's red, so it's a pretty good card to have in his deck. But anyway, I swing in here, and there's nothing he can do, apparently. He doesn't really have any way to block my dudes, I don't think. But I am going to play a muted... actually, I mean, this is something that I really found questionable. He doesn't block, but then I play my Mutagenic Growth, and then he flashes in his Fairy. So he could have just flashed in his Fairy and blocked my Jungle Lion, and then that would have just had a better effect for him, maybe. Although then I could have just Mutagenic Growth, and then he would have taken 6 still. I don't know. Or maybe I could have just killed his Fairy, and he was worried about that. But basically, at this point, he realizes he's just going to counter my spell. And then he realizes that he's at 4 life, and I have Mina Cattle Outlander. And the best part about the Mutagenic Growth, the fact that he countered it, even though it wasn't going to be lethal, so it was probably a mistake there, is that I can just bolt his Delver here. And now he's on a 3-turn clock. I'm on a 3-turn clock and he's on a 2-turn clock, because my Cattle Outlander, no matter what he does, is just going to get in. So that's going to be a good game. He is going to concede right here. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know it was a little bit different, and if you did, please let me know, and I'll try to bring you more of these. So hope you guys have a nice day. Bye.